Hey guys, what is going on guys? Today I am going to be playing Serania. So yeah guys, so if you are new to this YouTube channel guys, make sure you leave the like button, subscribe,
Microphone on button.
and also comment down below guys. Turn on those notifications so you can be notified when I upload more videos for the blind guys. So yeah guys, I'm gonna be turning off my microphone.
Stop microphone on
So
button.
yeah guys, enjoy the gameplay. So yeah.
Microphone off. App switcher. Serania active. Serania. Serania. Path of the Cyan. New game button. Checkpoints. Byte full game. Checkpoint. New game button. New game. Preparing content ellipsis. Information for the blind and visually impaired. Close button. Information for the blind and visually impaired. Information close. The game works with the voiceover screen reader on The game works with the voiceover screen reader on iPhones. Swipe right and left to navigate in text and choices. Swipe up for quick access to profile, hint, settings, and main menu buttons. OK button. Swipe up for quick access to profile, hint, settings, and main menu buttons. Swipe down to jump to the latest text box and once more to get to your options. OK button. OK. Man button. Woman button. Man. Do you want your main character to be a man or a woman? Man button. Man. Now your story is ready. You can play the first 1/4 of the game story for free. After this, you can buy access to the rest of the story. Continue ellipsis button. Continue ellipsis. Wake up. You cannot explain why, but you know it even before you hear the increasing thunder of horse hooves. Something is wrong. Danger is ahead. The sounds outside intensify. Shouting, ellipsis, screaming, ellipsis, galloping horses. The smell. The sounds out. You hear crackling. The sounds outside intensify. Shouting, ellipsis, screaming, ellipsis, galloping horses. The smell of smoke. You hear crackling, and you see flames suddenly spreading rapidly across the wall and up to the ceiling. Open the barn door and get out as fast as you can. Button. Go deeper into the barn towards the back. Go deeper into the. Open the barn door and get out as fast as you can. Button. Open the barn door and get out as fast as you put in all of your strength. Open the barn door and tumble out. You are met with fresh air and you stumble a couple of steps backward. The barn is on a hill and you look around, scared. The village is under attack by riders dressed in black. They seem to be everywhere. Some are carrying torches and they are lighting the houses on fire. Others have raised their swords, ready to strike. Black Blades. A man yells. Black Blades. The infamous soldiers of the king. But why? Just then, you are noticed by a nearby group of Black Blades. They turn around their horses and ride towards you with raised swords. Maybe you can surprise them with a desperate attack? Or maybe you should risk running back through the burning barn to reach the back entrance. Attack the Black Blade with your knife. Button. Run into the barn. Button. Run into the barn. You see no other option than running back into the burning barn. Continue ellipsis. Button. Continue ellipsis. The smoke is insufferable, your eyes are watering, and breathing is painful. You are coughing loudly and have to throw yourself to the ground. You look over your shoulder. The Black Blades have not followed you. You crawl the final distance, smoke burning in your lungs. You get to the rear wall of the barn, where there's a small door. You open the door and crawl out, coughing. Continue ellipsis, continue ellipsis, continue ellipsis. There are not any Black Blades nearby right now. A figure waves at you from the other side of the road. You recognize him. It is Helmar, one of the men from the village. You do not like Helmar. People say that he is selfish and would not hesitate to sell his own mother if he got a good deal. And he has been acting strange around you for a while now. He has never given you any attention previously, but lately, you have been noticing him keeping an eye on you. You wonder if he can help you escape the Black Blades. Helmar runs to you. Do you still have that piece of jewelry? With the crystal? He asks out of breath. You raise your hand and feel the crystal necklace hanging around your neck as it always has. The crystal necklace has always been yours. You wore it when you were adopted from the forest folk as a baby. Helmar nods eagerly. Good, good, come. He snaps. Good, good, come. I can help, this way. He snatches your arm in a hard grip. Follow Helmar, button. Tear yourself free and find an escape route on your own, button. Tear yourself, follow Helmar, button. Tear yourself free and find an escape route on your own, button. Follow Helmar, follow Helmar. Helmar begins to lead you along the walls of the houses. You crouch down and hide as some Black Blades come near you. To your surprise, Helmar stands up and waves to the Black Blades. Hey there, I've got the young man you're looking for. Your commander has promised me a reward. You struggle desperately to free yourself from Helmar's grasp, but the Black Blades have already surrounded you. One of the Black Blades points a 3-bolter, the dreaded triple crossbow of the Black Blades, at the two of you. You're Helmar? Helmar nods with enthusiasm. I've got him here. I was promised a reward. The Black Blades gaze turns to you and then back to Helmar. Is he wearing the necklace? He asks. Yes, ellipsis, Helmar replies, gleaming with anticipation. The Black Blade aims his 3-bolter at Helmar. Here's your reward. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Helmar drops to the ground with 3 bolts in his chest. The black blade starts reloading his 3 Bowser. He nods towards you and addresses the other black blades. Kill him. Everything is completely still. It is strange. There is a kind of vibration in the air. For a moment, everything is actually completely still. It is as if the black blade freeze, locked in their positions. Then, suddenly, a figure emerges, storming at you from the side. You feel yourself being dragged along by the arm. Come on, quickly, run. Quickly, you run in between 2 houses, through a door, and out on the other side. Behind you, you can hear the black blade shouting. You cast a quick glance at your savior. It is Jockey. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. It is always Jockey who turns up when you are in danger. Jockey is a lot older than you. He is the only one in the village who is a forest fawn like you. He has always been like an older brother to you. You have never been able to figure him out, but you cannot think of anyone you would rather see right now. Jockey has always been so calm, but now you see the fear in his eyes. We need to go. They are killing everyone. What happened to those black blades? Button. Helmar tried to get a reward for me from the black blades. Button. How will we get away? But Helmar, what happened to those black blades? What happened to those black blades? Jockey smiles crookedly without meeting your gaze. I really don't know what happened. You continue running between, into, and out of houses to avoid the black blades. Several of you continue running between, into, and out of houses to avoid the black blades. Several of the houses have been lit on fire. Helmar tried to get a reward for me from the black blades. Button. Helmar tried to get a reward for me from. Jockey looks glum and gives you a quick glance. Your secret has been revealed. We need to get away from here. What secret? Button. How will we get away? What secret? What secret? Jockey stops and looks at you. He opens his mouth to reply. But before he gets to say anything, you have to crouch down and hide as 2 black blades ride by. You spot a man trying to escape the black blades. They catch up with him effortlessly. You see one of them raising a black sword. You cannot do anything, you can just look on as it happens. The sword rushes downwards, brutally chopping down the man. You whimper at the sound and the sight. Jockey takes hold of your arm. Quickly, onwards. How will we get away? Button. How will we get away? We need to get to the blacksmith's forge. There's a way out. Jockey gasps for breath and elaborates. They have surrounded the village, but we can escape through the blacksmith's mine. You sneak between 2 houses and get to the small road running through the village. You need to cross the road and continue along the houses on the other side to get to the forge. You press against the house wall, remaining in the shadows. You look to your left. 5 men from the village, armed with pitchforks and axes, are running in your direction. You look to your right. 2 black blades on horseback are riding towards you. They are about 25 meters away. You look back and, much to your dismay, you see 2 black blades approaching on foot from behind you. One of them torches the thatched roof of a house as he passes. You do not know if they have seen you yet. Run as fast as you can across the road. Button. Wait. Button. Wait. Button. Wait. You signal for Jockey to stop and wait. The men from the village reach your hiding place, but so do the 2 black blades on horseback. A fight ensues. The men from behind you. The men from the village reach your hiding place, but so do the 2 black blades on horseback. A fight ensues between the men and the black blades. Behind you, the other 2 black blades start shouting and running towards you. Now. Jockey pulls you to your feet, and you start running across the road. You try to run behind the 2 black blades, but one of them notices you and swings his sword backward. Jockey manages to pull you aside, but the sword grazes your shoulder. It isn't until you have managed to get in between the houses on the other side that you feel the pain. Life -3, 27 out of 30. Behind you, you hear horrible screams from the fight. It does not sound as if the men are winning. You run as fast as you can. There, the forge. Jockey points at the forge, which is just a single house away. Just at that moment, 2 black blades ride up behind you. Another. You reach the forge. You reach the forge with. Jockey points at the forge. You reach the forge with the black blades hot on your heels, and you throw yourself through the door. Jockey bars the door. Almost immediately, the black blades start banging on the door. Jockey points at the forge, which is just a single house away. Just at that moment, 2 black blades ride up behind you. Another 2 emerges from the side. You reach. Quickly, Jockey eyes you up and down. You're wounded, he ascertains hastily. He finds something in his belt pouch. It looks like large, dried leaves. Before you can object, he puts his hand under your clothes and presses the dried leaves against your wounds. It stings really badly, and you shriek in pain. But then the pain abates, and you cannot feel your wounds at all anymore. Healing leaves from the savor herb, Jockey explains. Life +3, 30 out of 30. Jockey shows you the entrance to the mine in the rear of the blacksmith. Life +3, 30 out of 30. Healing leaves from the savor herb, Jockey explains. Life +3, 30 out of 30. Jockey shows you the entrance to the mine in the rear of the blacksmith's forge. He looks back. Jockey shows you the entrance to the mine in the rear of the blacksmith's forge. He gives you a torch, and you move into the mine. But then Jockey stops. He looks back at the door. It is not going to endure the beating much longer. He looks around with a strange expression on his face. At that moment, the door is splintered, and a very large black blade tries to edge himself in. Jockey grabs hold of you, staring intensely into your eyes and speaking rapidly. Listen, you're important. More important than anything else. Jockey's gaze is firm. The black blade frees himself from the door. Flee through the forest. Head upwards. When you reach the vantage point, you should look for the large oak tree. You'll know it when you see it. Go to that tree, and Egypt will find you. He's a friend. Flee, you are important. You need to escape. Flee through the forest. Head upwards. When you reach the vantage point, you should look for the large oak tree. You'll know it when you see it. Go to that tree, and Egypt will find you. He's a friend. He can help. You are important. You need to escape. Unexpectedly, Darky gives you a hard push. You tumble down the sloping mine shaft and drop your torch. Baffled, you look back at Darky. He has taken the blacksmith's largest hammer. You see the black blade closing in on him. Then Darky swings the hammer against the frame supporting the entrance of the mine. Wood is splintered, and in a matter of seconds, the entire entrance collapses with a loud crash. A cloud of dirt and dust hits you, and everything goes dark. And quiet. A cloud of dirt and quiet. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Checkpoint reached. Coughing, you try to feel the way ahead of you, but you bang your head against something hard and fall. You try to understand what has just happened. Jockey, think back, button. Why are you important, button. Find a way out, button. Why are you, Jockey, think back, Jockey, think back. You think of Darky. Jockey has always remained in the background, as if he has been watching you. He was never really a friend to you, but if something was really dangerous, he was always suddenly there. Like the time when you were about to be attacked by a boar at the edge of the forest and he brought the boar down with his knife. But when you were younger, and the other kids wanted to throw you in the pigsty, he did not help you. He just looked on and said, fight back. You did, but the other kids won. But now Darky has sacrificed himself so you could get away. Why are you important, button? Why are you important? How can you be important? Really, you are nothing but a forest spawn. You know that Sigrid had not adopted you when you were a baby. They could not have children themselves, and you had been abandoned in the forest by the forest folk. Sigrid and not were good parents, and, apart from Darky, they were the only ones to not call you a forest spawn and treat you poorly. But then Sigrid died of illness 3 years ago, and last winter not died. Since then, you have been on your own. Jockey said that you were important. Maybe he has always known it. You still do not know why. Find a way out, button. Find a way out, button. Find a way out. You wait, on all fours, for your eyes to adapt to the darkness, but it is entirely and completely dark. You have to feel your way ahead, carefully. You are lucky, and you soon find the torch. But the flame has gone out. Your inventory, items you are carrying, button. Take a closer look at, button. Search for, button. Search for. Useful things around you, button. Useful things around you, but search for useful things around you. You might be lucky and find useful things, but you need to know what you are looking for. Right now, you do not know enough to search. Examine your things and your surroundings. Along the way, you may get a task or a piece of information which will provide you with specific items to search for. You may also learn new skills during your travels, which will allow you to search for certain items. Useful things around you, button. Useful things back from search for. Useful things around you. Search for useful things around you. You might be lucky. Examine your. You may also learn new skills during your travel. Useful things around you. Useful things around you. Back from search for. Back from search for. Search for, button. Take a closer look at, button. Take a closer look at. The tunnel of the mine, button. The tunnel of the back from take the tunnel of the mine. Take a closer look at the tunnel of the mine. You cannot see anything in the darkness. The tunnel of the mine, button. Back from take a closer look at. Take a closer look at your inventory, items you are carrying. You cannot see anything in the darkness. Your inventory, items you are carrying. Your inventory, items you are carrying. A necklace with a crystal, button. A knife, button. A necklace with a crystal. A necklace with a crystal. Drop, button. Examine, button. Drop, back from a necklace. Drop, examine, button. Examine the crystal necklace. You have always worn the crystal necklace. It must have been given to you by your real parents. The crystal is milky white and the size of a coin. It is set in a flat piece of polished wood to which the leather lace is attached. On the backside of the wood there are some inscriptions that you cannot decipher and a coat of arms with a sword and a ship. Drop, button. Examine, button. Take off, button. Take off, examine, drop. Back from a necklace with a crystal. Back from a necklace with a crystal. A necklace with a crystal, button. A knife, button. A gold piece, button. A knife, button. A knife. Drop, button. Examine, button. Examine the knife. You have had this knife since you were very young. The handle is made of wood and the blade is made of the best iron the blacksmith of your village had back then. By the sheath of the knife, there is a small pouch with a piece of flint. You can use it for lighting a fire by striking the back of the knife against the piece of flint. Drop, button. Make sparks and light, button. Examine, button. Make sparks and light. Make sparks and light. The torch, button. The crystal necklace, button. The torch, button. Make sparks with the knife to light the torch. Experience plus 10, 10 out of 100. Experience plus 10, 10 out of 100. Experience plus 10, you strike the back of the knife against a piece of flint. Your surroundings are lit in flashes by the cloud of sparks that emit from the flint. After a few tries, you manage to light the torch. Experience plus 10, 10 out of 100. Experience plus 10, you strike, experience plus 10, experience, you strike, make sparks. By the sheath of the knife, there is you have had this knife, examine the knife. The crystal is milky white and the size, examine the knife. You have had this knife. By the sheath of the knife, there is a small, make sparks with the knife. You strike the back of the experience plus 10, continue, ellipsis, but continue, ellipsis. A flickering light spreads, and you look around. Behind you, you see that the entrance has collapsed entirely. In front of you, the mine divides into 2 tunnels. Follow the mine tunnel on your left, button. Follow the mine tunnel on your right, but follow the mine tunnel on your left. You move down the left tunnel of the mine. Soon, an opening appears on your right hand to yet another tunnel. While the tunnel you are in continues straight ahead. You can hear the sound of dripping water from the tunnel to the right. Go through the opening, button. Go further ahead, button. Go back to the entrance. Your inventory, ellipsis, but go back. Go further ahead, button. Go further ahead. You press on through the tunnel of the mine. The tunnel narrows, and after a while, it ends in a dead end. The blacksmith and his helpers have mined for iron ore here, and there are piles of broken rock. Leaned against the wall is a pick. Go back, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, items here, ellipsis, button. Items here, ellipsis. A pick, button. A pick, but back from a pick, button. A pick. Examine, button. Pick up, button. Examine, button. Examine the pick. It is a large pick to break down rock and dig in the mine. Examine, button. Pick up, button. Pick up, button. Pick up the pick. You pick up the pick. Go back, button. Your inventory, take a closer look at, button. Take a closer look at, take a closer look at. The tunnel of the mine, the pile of rocks, button. The pile of rocks. Among the pieces of broken rock, you find a large piece of iron ore that the blacksmith and his helpers have missed. You can take it if you want to. Take it with you, button. Take it with you. You take the piece of iron ore with you. Go back, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, take a closer look at, take a closer look at, but take a closer look at. The tunnel of the back from take a closer look at, button. Back from take a closer look at, take a closer look at. Your inventory, go back, button. Go back. You are in the tunnel of the mine where there is a... Go through the opening, button. Go further ahead, button. Go back to the entrance, but go further ahead, button. Go back, go through the opening, button. Go through the opening. You walk along the new tunnel of the mine. After a few steps, you notice water on the mine floor. You press on for a while until the tunnel dead ends. There is water trickling from the rocky surface here. Maybe the blacksmith and his helpers have hit a body of water here and have had to give up on digging any further. Go back, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, take a closer look at, go back, button, go back. You are in the tunnel. Go further ahead, button, go back to the entrance, button. Go back to the entrance. You are by the collapsed entrance to the mine. In front. Follow the mine tunnel on your left, follow the mine tunnel on your right, follow the mine tunnel on your right. You move down the right-hand tunnel of the mine. The tunnel twists a little, narrows, and then eventually reaches a dead end. The way is barred with wooden planks, floor to ceiling. Go back, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, items here, button, items here, button, items here. A row of wooden planks, button, a row of wooden, back from a row of wooden planks, a row of wooden planks. Examine, button, break apart with, button, break apart with, examine, button, examine the wooden planks. The planks have been put up across two corner posts by the end wall. They are solid planks, and they are nailed in tightly. When you take a closer look at the planks, you feel a breath of fresh air from the other side. Maybe there is a way out of here, but have the planks been put here to keep something in or something out? Examine, button, back from a row of wooden plank, back from a row of wooden planks, a row of wooden plank, back from items here, back from items here. Items here, but items here, your inventory, go back, button. When you take a closer look, go back, your inventory, ellipsis, items here, button. Items here. A row of wooden planks, button, a row of wooden planks, button, a row of wooden planks, back, examine, button, break apart with, button, break apart with. Your bare hands, button, the knife, button. Break apart the planks with the knife. You try to chop at and break apart the planks with the knife, but the planks are too solid and nailed in place too hard. Break apart the planks with the knife. You try to chop at and break apart. Your bare hand, the torch, button, your bare hands. Break apart the planks with your bare hands. You try pulling the planks apart, but they won't budge. Then you try kicking at the planks to break them. You only manage to hurt your foot. Life -1, 29 out of 30. The torch, button. The pick, button. The torch, button. Break apart the planks with the torch. It does not really work. You almost snuff out the fire of the torch. The pick, button. The pick, button. Break apart the planks with the pick. You set about breaking apart the planks with the pick. It is hard work, but after a while, you have made a hole large enough for you to crawl through. Examine, button. Crawl through, button. Crawl through, button. Examine, button. Examine the wooden planks. Several. Examine, back from a row of wooden planks, button. Examine, button. Examine the wooden planks. Several planks have been broken apart, and there is a hole that you can crawl through. Examine, crawl through, button. Crawl through the hole. You squeeze through the hole. The pick is too large to bring along, so you leave it behind. Experience +15, 25 out of 100. Experience plus. Your clothes stick to the ends of the busted up wooden planks, and you have to twist to free yourself. You lose the torch, but you manage to get through. Experience +15, 25. Experience +50. Your clothes stick. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Checkpoint reached. You can feel branches on the other side, and you finally manage to pull yourself through. At first, you land in some soft moss. You take a moment to recover. Something is moving in the periphery of your vision. You hear a peculiar gnawing sound. Abruptly, you raise your head and try to see in the darkness. You regain your vision slowly. You are in a small den with an opening to the outside ahead of you. But it is blocked by two shapes, hissing and moving towards you. Giant rats. The rats prepare for attack. One is black, the other is brown. You pull your... Attack. The rats prepare for attack. One is black, the other is brown. You pull your knife. Attack, ellipsis, defense, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, button. Help for combat, button. Help for combat. Your inventory, defense, button. Defense. You tighten every muscle, ready to withstand the next attack. The brown rat scuttles closer and tries to sink its teeth into your leg. It is fast, and you do not manage to withdraw your leg. The sharp teeth of the rat dig into your leg. Life -4, 25 out of 30. The black rat recoils before leaping at you, suddenly, in its full length, sharp claws first. You duck just in time for the rat to fly over you, land. Attack. You duck just in time for the rat to fly over you, landing behind you. Attack, ellipse, defense. Your inventory, ellipsis, button. Help for combat. Your defense, attack. You duck just in attack, ellipsis, attack, ellipsis. The brown rat, button. The black rat, button. The brown rat, button. The brown rat. Quick thrust, but sideways cut, button. Sideways cut. You go sideways, trying to place a slice across the brown rat, but it reads your movement and avoids. The brown rat claws at your leg. You manage to dodge. Again, the black rat takes off and leaps at you. You cannot dodge, and the rat hits you. Lying on your back, you barely manage to keep the rat's head at a distance. Roll to the lying on your back, you barely manage to keep the rat's head at a distance. It is snarling and trying to bite your face. Roll to the side and free yourself quickly, button. Release your weapon arm and make a thrust at the rat, button. Release your weapon, roll to the side and free yourself quickly. Life -5, 20 out of 30. You try to push the rat away. You succeed, but the rat manages to bite your shoulder. Attack, ellipsis, button. Attack, ellipsis. The brown rat, the black rat, button. The black rat. Quick thrust, sideways cut, but forceful stab, button. Forceful stab. You. The brown rat turns around and uses its powerful hind legs to kick up dirt and twigs towards you. You manage to close your eyes and are able to quickly brush off the dirt. The black rat attacks again with a forceful leap. Yet again, the leaping rat connects with you, and you fall over, fighting to keep its teeth away from your face. Roll to the side and free yourself quickly, button. Release your weapon arm and make a thrust. Release your weapon arm and make a thrust at the. You need to hold off the rat with one arm while thrusting your knife with the other. The rat is dangerously close to your face. Just as you lunge your knife at it, the rat strafes your neck with a bite. The pain. Life -1, 19 out of 30. Attack, ellipsis, life -1. Just as you lunge your knife at it, the rat strafes your neck with a bite. The pain makes you miss, but it also gives you the determination to push the rat away. Life attack, ellipsis, attack, ellipsis. The brown rat, the black rat, button. The brown rat, the brown rat. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. Aiming at the brown rat, you jab the knife ahead of you. It is with some satisfaction that you register your attack hitting it. It screeches like something out of a nightmare and jumps backwards. The brown rat lunges ahead and tries to snap your left leg. You barely evade the attack. The black rat throws itself at you, trying to bite you in the leg. It successfully bites you. Life -1, 18 out of 30. Quick thrust, button. Sideways cut, button. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. Looking for the... The brown rat hisses, but does not attack. The black rat jumps ahead, striking at you with its sharp claws. It only manages to get a hold of your breeches. Quick thrust, button. Sideways cut, button. Sideways cut. You swing your arm in an arc, attempting to cut the brown rat from the side, giving it a scar to remember you by. That is assuming that it lives to see the end of the fight, of course. It jumps to the side with a screech. The brown rat tries to bite your right leg. You just manage to pull back your leg and jump to the side. The black rat bites angrily at you. You manage to dodge. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. You plunge the knife in the direction of the brown rat. Your attack connects with it, and you follow through. It moves backwards, wounded. It seems weakened. Again, the brown rat does the trick of picking up dirt and filth in your face. You cough and sputter as you get dirt in your eyes. The black rat tries to bite your right leg. You manage to jump aside, avoiding the attack. Quick thrust, button. Sideways cut, button. Sideways cut. Choosing an opportune moment, you let a knife whirl sideways towards the brown rat, but you do not hit. The brown rat bites angrily. You try to avoid it, but too late. The sharp teeth of the rat. Life -5, 13 out of 30. The black rat waits a little. It seems exhausted. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. Quickly. The brown rat hisses, but does not attack. The black rat throws. You manage to hold it off with it. Quick thrust, sideways cut, forceful stab, button, forceful stab. You flip the knife from your hand, and you make a downward stab at the brown rat, and the knife. The brown rat throws itself. It successfully claws you. The black rat waits a little. It seems exhausted. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. With a swift movement, you jab the knife toward the brown rat and feel the tip of the blade penetrating your target. It curls up and lies still. The black rat waits a little. It seems exhausted. Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. You plunge the knife in the direction of the black rat, but it leaps to the side. The black rat scuttles closer and tries to sink its teeth into your leg. You dodge to the side. Quick thrust, button. Sideways cut, button. Sideways cut. You swing your arm in an arc. The black rat hisses, but does not attack. Quick thrust, sideways, forceful stab. Help using the knife at forceful stab, button, forceful stab. Putting the weight of your body behind your attack, you make a forceful stab at the black rat, but it leaps to the side. The black rat hisses, but is not its. Forceful stab, help using the knife as a weapon. Forceful stab, sideways cut, but quick thrust, button, quick thrust. Aiming at the black rat. You sidestep the attack. Quick thrust, button, sideways cut, button, sideways cut. Choosing an opportune moment, you let a knife whirl sideways or... The black rat waits a little. It seems exhausted. Quick thrust, button, quick thrust. With a swift move. The black rat waits a little. It's... Quick thrust, but sideways cut, forceful stab, button, forceful stab. Putting the weight of your body. The black... You try to avoid it, but it is too late and you... Quick thrust, button. Quick thrust. Looking for the... The black rat hisses, but is not attacked. Quick thrust, button, quick thrust. Quickly, you thrust a knife toward the black rat, bypassing your opponent's defenses. The black rat stumbles backwards a few steps before curling up on the ground. It stays down, dead. Both rats lie dead at your feet. You dry the blood off your knife while trying to catch your breath. It is time to get out of this den. Experience plus 20, 45 out of 100. The village. You crawl out of the den of rats. Carefully, you stumble ahead and up a hilltop, allowing you to see the village of lumber. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis. The houses are burning. The black blades are everywhere. They have slowed down now. They are searching methodically for survivors. A woman appears from her hiding place behind some shrubbery and tries to flee. One of the black blades notices her. He pulls his 3-boucher from the strapped hook on his back and points it at the woman. Then she falls to the ground. Then she falls to the ground. Less than a second later, the thwack of the 3-boucher reaches your hiding place. A group of black blades are gathering on the outskirts of the village. One of them has long, fair hair. He signals for them to search the village. They split up and ride in different directions. A couple of riders head in your direction. You turn around and run into the forest. You run. And you keep running. You have no sense of time, or of exhaustion. You just run. Until you collapse. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Black blades. You are important. More important than anything else. You wake up with a jolt to the sound of birds chirping. The sun is high in the sky. You look around and see that you are in a clearing in the forest. The village. The attack. Helmar. Jarky. It all comes back to you. Why were you attacked by black blades? What was Jarky talking about? The entire village is gone. Your feelings are mixed. You have always been an outsider in the village. You have had to fight for everything. But it was your home. And Jarky, he sacrificed himself for you. You remember Jarky saying something about heading upwards, finding a vantage point, and looking for a large oak tree. You can hear the sound of a brook. The terrain is sloping, and you can proceed upwards or go towards the brook. Proceed upwards in the terrain, button. Go towards the sound of the brook, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, go to proceed upwards in the terrain. You move upwards and end up on the top of a tall hill with a view of a far stretch of arvid forest. Behind you, you see a column of smoke far away. It must be the smoke from your burned down village. Ahead of you, the forest stretches on. In the distance, you see the mountains of murk looming. You notice a large oak tree a fair distance away, protruding above the other trees. There is a path further ahead that leads in that direction. Go down to the path, button. Go to the clearing, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, go down to the path, button. Go down to the path. You find the path, and you follow it far into the forest. Arvid forest is dense, lush, and the trees are tall. You wander along the path for a while, hoping to get a glimpse of the large oak tree Jarky talked about. Further ahead, the underbrush grows thick, and the path almost disappears. Continue along the path, button. Go back along the path. Your inventory, ellipsis. Your inventory, go back. Continue along the path. Continue along the path. You make it through the dense vegetation and continue down the forest path. After a while, steep hills appear on both sides of the path. Suddenly, 2 men step out from behind a tree onto the path in front of you. You hear a sound behind you. Another 2 men have appeared behind you. Says one of the men as he looks you up and down. They don't look like the type of people that one becomes friendly with. The man draws a sword. Nice knife. And what's that you've got around your neck? A piece of jewelry, perhaps? He continues, nodding to one of the other men. Brigands. You cannot escape. Hand it all over, then we might spare you, says the brigand and points his sword at you. Pull your knife, button. Hand over your knife and the necklace to the brigands, button. Hand over your knife and the necklace. Hand over your knife and the necklace to the brigand. Reluctantly, you start removing the knife from your belt. Too slowly, apparently. You hear a step behind you and feel a hard strike against your back, knocking you to the ground. The first brigand places a foot on your chest and points his sword at your throat. This will be faster, he says and raises his sword. It feels as if time stands still. You look up at your executioner. Everything is quiet. Then the brigand falls over backward as if the sword was too heavy. He stays down. You hear the sound of another body dropping. And again, ellipsis. You look around, confused. Only one brigand is still standing. You get to your feet quickly. A figure approaches from the one hillside. It is an elderly man, dressed in skins and wool, the colors of the forest. He moves quickly, approaching the final brigand without hesitation. He has a long narrow object in his hand, a staff, or a blow tube. Having been entirely paralyzed, the final brigand now breaks out of his trance. He runs ahead and takes the sword from the fallen brigand. Run, scram, I'll spare you, the elderly man yells at the brigand. The brigand pauses for a moment before raising his sword and storming toward the man, roaring. With a movement as swift as lightning, the elderly man draws a long, curved dagger from a holster on his back. The brigand swings his sword, but the elderly man dodges with an almost elegant movement that continues towards the brigand and past him. The brigand grabs his own throat, blood suddenly pulsing out. Then he falls to the ground. Fool, the elderly man mutters. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Checkpoint reached. Just in the nick of time, the elderly man says. He reaches out his hand, bows slightly. Anijil, he reaches out his hand, bows slightly. Anijil. You extend your hand to greet him. Torad. Ejil simply nods and continues. I know that the Black Blade attacked, but where's Jockey? It was just me who made it out. Button. Who were those men? You know me? Button. You know me? You know me? Yes, ellipsis, I know you, ellipsis, I can explain later. Ejil maintains a grip on your hand. But Jockey? What happened? It was just me who made it out. Button. It was just me who made it out. Ejil pulls you close to him with his hand. He is surprisingly strong for an old man. His gaze is penetrating. What, ellipsis, happened, ellipsis, to, ellipsis, Jockey? He asked. What, Jockey helped me out through the mine. But he stayed behind and blocked the entrance. Button. How do you know Jockey? Button. Jockey helped me out through the mine. Ejil lets go of your hand, sits down, and stares into the distance ahead of him. Jockey did what needed to be done. I hope he made it, he mumbles. A little time passes, and then Ejil straightens up and talks to you. We've looked out for you since you were a baby. You want to ask questions, but Ejil gestures towards the dead brigands and stands up. Quick, see if they are carrying anything of use. I'll stand guard. He steps up onto a hilltop. Your inventory, ellipsis, button. Items here, ellipsis, go to Ejil, items here, ellipsis. 4 dead brigands, button, 4 dead back from 4 dead brigands. Examine, button, examine, back from 4 dead, examine, button, examine the 4 dead brigands. They are all dirty, wearing worn out clothes, and smelling poorly. 3 of them each have a small dart in their necks. The final one has a slash across his throat. Examine the 4 dead, examine, he steps up onto a hilltop. Examine the 4 dead, they are all dirty, wearing... There is a skin pouch in, they are all dirty, there is a skin pouch in the... Experience plus 10, 55 out of 100. Examine, button, examine, back from 4 dead brigands. 4 dead brigands, a leather vest, button. 4 dead brigands, back from items here, 4 dead, a leather vest, a skin pouch, an old sword, a skin pouch, a leather vest, button, a skin, an old sword, an old sword. Examine, button, pick up, button, pick up, button. Pick up the old sword. You pick up the old sword. 4 dead brigands, button. Back from items here, ellipsis, you pick up the old sword. Back from 4 dead, a leather vest, a skin pouch, a leather vest, button, a leather vest. Examine, button, pick up, button, examine, back from a leather vest, examine, button, examine the leather vest. It is a sort of old, brown leather vest. It will provide a little protection in combat. Examine, button, pick up the leather vest. You pick up the leather vest. 4 dead brigands, button, a skin pouch, a skin pouch, a skin pouch. Examine, button, pick up, examine the skin pouch. The skin pouch contains 12 gold pieces. Examine, button, pick up the skin pouch. You take the 12 gold pieces that the skin pouch contains. Gold plus 12. 4 dead brigands, button. 4 dead brigands, back from items here, ellipsis, items here, ellipsis, your inventory, ellipsis, gold plus 12. You take the 12 gold pieces that the skin pouch contains, gold plus 12, your inventory, items here, go to Ejil, button, go to Ejil. You go to Ejil, who starts heading into the forest. He signals for you to follow him. We'll go to my cabin now. I need to think. Come on. He begins a fast trot in between the trees. You struggle to keep up with his pace. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis. After a short while, you get to a small cabin, which is almost completely hidden by the forest. Inside there is a bed, a table and a fireplace with a pot on. On the walls are several shelves with books, jars, and glasses. Ejil sits down, takes 2 bowls, hands you one of them, and points at the pot. There you go. Ejil sits down, takes 2 bowls, hands you one of them, and points at the pot. Something indistinguishable is bubbling in it. There you go, he says. Take from the pot and eat, button. Take a closer look at the food. Turn it down, button. Take from the pot and eat, button. Take from the pot and eat. You sit down, fill your bowl, and eat carefully. It tastes, ellipsis, good, actually, ellipsis. You eat gluttonously till the bowl is empty. Ejil nods, satisfied. Life plus 17, 30 out of 30. Ejil mumbles to himself. The secret has been revealed. Jockey might be dead. Black blades, ellipsis. Then he straightens up with a jolt. We're not safe here. Egil jumps up and finds a sack that he starts filling with things from the shelves hurriedly. Have you looked out for me since I was a baby? Button. Have you looked out for me since I was a baby? Egil continues throwing things into his sack. I made a promise. So did Jockey. He continues throwing a couple of things into his sack but then stops and turns around to face you. Ellipsis, a promise to your mother. Why are they after us? Button. Why are they after us? Egil puts a couple of things into the sack, smiling tersely. Apparently, there was a good reason we needed to guard you and your secret. Blackblades can only mean one thing. King Drummery wants you dead. As for why, I don't know. But, ellipsis. Egil cuts you off. When the time is right, the Scion will claim his birthright. When the time is right, the Scion will claim his birthright. You will claim your birthright. No more time to talk now. Egil hands you the full. No more time to talk now. The Blackblades can show up anytime. Egil hands you the full sack, finds another, and starts filling that as well. You have so many questions. Why, ellipsis? Egil interrupts you. Shh. Egil, shh. You both listen. You hear the quiet crackle of the fire, the bubbling pot of stew. Then you hear the distant thunder of horse hoofs. Calm. Egil takes your arm, and together you run out of the cabin. You get to a thicket at the edge of the clearing in which the cabin is located. The sound. Egil takes your arm, and together you run out of the cabin. You get to a thicket at the edge of the clearing in which the cabin is located. The sound of horse hooves increases and seems to come from all directions. Quiet. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Egil pulls you down, and you crawl into hiding behind the thicket. He pulls a branch to cover you. You hardly dare to breathe. Egil pulls you down, and you crawl into hiding behind the thicket. He pulls a branch to cover you. You hardly dare to breathe. Through the leaves, you see riders showing up by the cabin. Blackblades. One of them gets off his horse and gestures towards the other Blackblades. He appears to be the leader of their group. You recognize his fair hair from the village attack. They storm into the cabin, rattle around a bit, and then exit. One of them. They storm into the cabin, rattle around a bit, and then exit. One of them is shaking his head. The leader enters the cabin and exits shortly after. He kneels to examine the ground. Someone was here. A short while ago, he tells the other Blackblades. He looks up in your direction. Crawl away and escape, button. Remain hidden, button. Remain hidden, button. Crawl away and escape, button. Remain hidden, button. Crawl away and escape, crawl away and escape. Carefully, you crawl backward. When you are a fair distance away, you notice the smell of smoke. They are burning my cabin, Egil mumbles. You crawl further back, and when you are well away, Egil leads you through the dense forest, silently. Experience plus 15, 70 out of 100. He walks with silent steps, continuously pointing to where you need to tread, holding branches aside for you. You move like this for a while. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. You move upwards in the terrain. Trees become more sparse, and rocky ground emerges several places. After a while, several rock-filled slopes rise on both sides of the path that you are walking. You continue to move through this narrow valley. The Cursed Valley, Egil rumbles and gestures about with a pointed finger. Gradually, the sun is setting, and it is dusk when you reach the entrance to a cave. Wait here. Egil disappears into the cave. A little time passes, and in the meantime, you notice that some signs have been cut into the rock above the entrance to the cave. You do not recognize all the signs, but one of them is definitely a death's head. You are taken aback when Egil suddenly emerges again, carrying a torch. Come, here we can be safe. You follow him into the cave. The entrance turns out to be a long passage that winds deep into the darkness. Eventually, you reach a large cave. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. We can have a fire here without being noticed. But we can have a fire here without being noticed. But we need firewood. And some food, if possible. I'll go and look. Wait for me here, and don't go deeper into the cave. Egil hands you the torch and disappears once again before you have a chance to ask him anything. Stay put and wait, button. Go deeper into the cave and explore, but stay put and wait, button. Go deeper into the cave and explore. Furthest back in the cave, you find a passage leading deeper into the rock. You move carefully into the passage. On the walls, you notice several mysterious signs. Eventually, the passage ends in a large cavern, much larger than the cave where Egil told you to wait. The cavern is so large that you cannot see the ceiling or the sides of it. Based on the echo, the cavern must be huge. In the flickering light of the torch, you can make out something big further ahead. It looks like a portal. Go further ahead, button. Go back to the first cave. Surroundings, button. Surroundings, button. Surroundings. Take a closer look at, button. Take a closer look at, take a closer look at. The ceiling, button. The floor, button. The ceiling, button. The ceiling. You raise the torch as high as you can, and you see stalactites high above you. The floor, button. The floor. The floor is pretty smooth. When you scrape the dust a little, you notice that it is paved with square stones. They lead to the portal. The sides of the cavern, button. The sides of the cavern. The sides of the cavern. You walk to one side and use the torch for light. There is something here. The sides of the cavern, the floor. You raise the torch as high. The floor is the size of the. You walk to one side. A human skeleton. You walk a human skeleton. Frightened, you use the light of. This skeleton is not that of a human. It is smaller. The arm. Frightened, you use the light of the torch to look around you. Another skeleton. This skeleton is not that of a human. It is smaller. The arms are too long, and the skull has a strange, elongated form. The teeth are pointed with long fangs. You continue searching and find skeletons spread everywhere. Some are those of humans, and others belong to the strange creatures. There is also an old buckler that might still be of use. Experience plus 10, 80 out of 100. But there is something scary about this place. Items here, ellipsis, but items here, ellipsis, but items here, ellipsis. An old buckler, button, an old buckler, button, an old buckler. Examine, button, pick up, but examine, button, examine the old buckler. It is an old shield, but it is still durable. It will provide some small benefits to avoid attacks and minimize damage in combat. Examine, button, pick up the old buckler. You pick up the old buckler. Go further ahead, button, go back to the first cave, button, go back to the first, go further ahead, go further ahead. You walk ahead, and as expected, you now stand in front of an immense portal made of rock. It is closed, and large boulders are placed up against it. Mysterious signs are written onto the portal. You use the torch to look further down, and you are startled to see a dried-up hand extending from the crack in the portal. It is not a human hand. It is larger, and it has long claws. It only has 4 fingers. Go back to the first cave, button. Go back to the first cave, go back to the first cave. You cannot leave the scary cavern fast enough. Hurriedly, you pave your way back through the narrow passage. You get to the first cave and sit down close by the exit, waiting for Egil. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis, continue, ellipsis. You sit there for a long time. It is cold. There is not a lot of heat coming from the torch, which is burning out. There is a clatter by the exit. Then Egil appears, throwing first a bundle of branches and then a dead hare at your feet. Let's get the fire going. Egil then stops and looks at you. Have you been deeper into the cave? Yes. Button. Yes. Ha, at least you're honest. Then you've probably met the fallen warriors in there. Egil points further into the cave. In there's the entrance to Barlofan's crypt, sealed several hundred years ago. History tells us that adventurers and fortune seekers awakened all sorts of evil creatures deep inside the crypt. These creatures forced their way out of the crypt and started ravaging the area. The king ordered the crypt sealed, and in a great battle, they managed to force the creatures back and seal the crypt. There are still remains of the fallen from that battle in there. The cave and this entire valley are seen as a cursed place, and people stay far away from it. That's why it's a perfect place for us to hide right now. Build a fire, and I'll get dinner ready. Egil stops, sighs, and puts a hand on your shoulder. You've got many questions, and I have a lot to tell. But first, we'll need warmth and food. Build a fire, button. Build a fire, button. Build a fire. You build a fire of the branches and lights it with a torch. Egil readies the hare, and from the sacks, he finds a pot and a full water skin. Before long, a stew is cooking, and you both eat gluttonously. Egil puts aside his bowl. Listen, ellipsis, you are not a forest spawn and your parents aren't forest folk. That much I know. There's something special about you and your birthright. My birthright? Button. My birthright? My birthright? Let me tell you about your mother. A night almost 20 years ago, there was a knock on the door of my cabin. Outside was a pregnant woman and a young boy asking for shelter for the night. They were frightened and exhausted. I could see on their clothes that they were from the highest class, but now their clothes were ragged and dirty. Women and children must always be protected, so, naturally, I let them in. Gave them. Egil takes a shot. Women and children must always be protected, so, naturally, I let them in. Gave them food and shelter. Egil takes a short break and looks at you directly. The woman's name was Laura, and the child kicking in her womb was you. The boy was her apprentice, she said. Bjarki. Laura was in a state of shock and sorrow, but neither she nor Bjarki would reveal where they came from or what they were running from. They stayed with me. Laura was in a state of shock and sorrow, but neither she nor Bjarki would reveal where they came from or what they were running from. I felt pretty sure, though, that they come from the White Temple of the Nurtonians. They stayed with me for a couple of weeks. Then one night, Laura went into labor. I helped bring you into this world. Egil's eyes brighten, but then his expression becomes more somber. Laura, ellipsis, she fell ill after the birth. We did everything we could, but she got worse. Eventually, she was near death. In her last moments, she pulled me close to her and asked me to swear that I would grant her a final wish. She said that we were to let you grow up unnoticed in the nearby village. No one was to know who you really were. Bjarki was to join you to protect and train you. She gave you the piece of jewelry that I'm happy to see that you're still wearing. Her last words, I've remembered ever since. Egil takes a short break and then recounts the last words of your mother. When he is old enough, this piece of jewelry will lead him on the right way. It will protect him while he grows stronger. He will find... When he is old enough, this piece of jewelry will lead him on the right way. It will protect him while he grows stronger. He will find the truth about me and his father. When the time is right, he will claim his birthright as the scion of his family. Egil leans back. I'm not entirely sure what she meant. You're certainly important to the Nurtonians. I swore an oath to Laura, so I'm going to help you to the best of my ability. Egil closes his eyes and sighs. He mutters. I hope that Ejil closes his eyes and sighs. He mutters to himself. I hope that Yarki made it. He has to have made it. He then turns around and looks in one of his sacks. Throws a wool blanket to you. Experience plus 20, 0 out of 150, level up a arrow. Who are the Mauritanians? Button. Helmar from the village tried to turn me into the Black Blades. Button. How about the Black Blades? Button. Helmar, who are the Mauritanians? Who are the Mauritanians? Ejil mumbles, eyes closed. Mauritanians are masters of the art of magic. Their sanctum was a white temple. Ellipsis, but that is just a haunted ruin now. I've heard a story from the city about the Mauritanians assassinating King Arno. His brother, Yuri, took revenge, attacked and sacked the temple. Since then, magic has been outlawed. It happened the same night that Laura and Darky came to me. But there is something strange about that story. Laura was a good person. I'm able to see that kind of thing. She was no Kingslayer. Maybe you'll find answers if you travel to the remains of the temple and explore it. Or go to the large city, Borgen. Tell me more about King Yuri. Button. Tell me more about Borgen. Ask something else. Button. Tell me more about King Yuri. Yes, ellipsis. I don't keep up with foolish power struggles in politics, but King Yuri took over power after the death of his brother. He's still king, that's Yuri. Not particularly well liked. And he sent his Black Blades after us. If we go to Borgen, you can ask around. They quite definitely care more about that kind of thing than I do. Tell me more about Borgen. Tell me more about Borgen. Borgen, yes. The large city. The capital. If you follow the river Erva into a country, you'll get to Borgen. It's a large trading hub and the seat of the king. You can find many things in Borgen, but watch out. Don't trust anyone. Everyone's only concerned with scraping together more gold pieces. That's what the city's like. Ask something else. Button. Ask something else. Helmar from the village tried to turn me into the Black Blades. Ask something else. Helmar from the village tried to turn me into the Black Blades. Button. Helmar from the village tried to turn me in. Ejil's eyes widen. Helmar, that selfish, smarmy rat. Ejil seems to know everyone from your village. How did he get trace of you? He was very interested in my crystal necklace. Button. He was very interested in my crystal necklace. The necklace, of course. Helmar's scum, but he wasn't dumb. He's recognized something when he saw your necklace. He tried to get a bounty from the Black Blades. Button. He tried to get a bounty from the Black Blades. Ejil turns his head and spits. Greedy rat. That means he's gone to the highest place. And apparently, the king didn't appreciate the news of you and your crystal necklace. I'll track down Helmer and kill him. Slowly. He's already dead. Button. He's already dead. Ejil snorts. Then I'll find him and kill him again. How about the Black Blades? Button. How about the Black Blades? Yeah, you should stay away from them. You've seen what they're capable of. Ellipsis, and they burned down my cabin. Ejil looks sour but then stretches a little and yawns. The Black Blades are the king's best and most ruthless soldiers. This can only mean one thing. King Drumri wants you and everyone who has had anything to do with you dead. Why? I can't tell. Go to sleep, button. Go to sleep, button. Go to sleep. You make yourself comfortable with a wool blanket and try to make sense of everything that you have been told. Ejil is snoring already. You put extra wood on the fire, and soon you are also sleeping tightly. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. You wake up to the sound of Ejil packing up. Time to leave. We need to get to the river Arva today. We've circled around to avoid the Black Blades. When we get the river, we can follow a hidden path north all the way to Borgen. Ejil smiles cleverly. Borgen's the last place anyone will ever look for us, and there we will be able to find answers. He nods to you. Keep the wool blanket. You might need it. You move out of the cave, and soon you are on your way through the valley again. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. You wander in silence. Ejil glances up the sides of the cliffs and suddenly widens his eyes. Back. He pushes you backward and draws his dagger. You hear rattling of pebbles from upwards. Up there, almost the same color as the rocks, a creature is advancing down towards you. A Tarleon, Ejil shouts. More than anything, the creature looked like a giant crab with legs reaching to 3 meters and an equally large body. It jumps towards Ejil, who manages to sidestep it. The Tarleon stands tall on its legs and opens its 2 big claws. Behind its claw arms, you see it waving a pair of long front legs with pointy, black stings at their ends. Watch out, it's poisonous, Ejil yells. Choose your weapon for the fight, ellipsis, button. Choose your weapon for the fight, ellipsis. Watch out, choose your weapon for the fight. Choose your weapon for the fight, ellipsis. The old buckler, button. The old sword, button. The knife, button. The knife, button. The old sword, the old buckler, button. The old sword, you use the old sword. Choose extra weapon for the fight, ellipsis, button. Choose extra weapon for the fight. Choose extra weapon for the fight, ellipsis. The old buckler, button. Back from the old buckler, button. You use the old buckler. Ejil attacks the Tarleon, but he misses it. Attack, ellipsis, button. Attack, ellipsis. Thrust, button. Cut, button. Thrust, button. Thrust. You go right. With surprising speed, you go right, thrusting at the Tarleon, but you only hit the air as it manages to get out the way. With surprising speed, the Tarleon moves toward you, swinging its claw. Despite attempts to sidestep it, you are caught by the claw and receives a nasty bruise. Life -3, 27 out of 30. Eagle tries to attack the soft abdomen of the Tarleon with a sweeping movement, but it raises itself on its long legs with incredible speed and avoids the attack. Thrust, button, cut, button, cut. Targeting the Tarleon, you swing your sword in an arc from the right. It must have felt it. It moves back. The Tarleon swings an open claw towards Eagle. Targeting the Tarleon, you swing your sword in an arc from the right. It must have felt it. It moves backwards. The Tarleon swings an open claw towards Eagle. I'm too old for this, ellipsis, he rumbles in a gravelly voice, sidestepping the attack. Eagle swings his dagger towards the Tarleon, but it moves swiftly to the side. Thrust, button, cut, You try to feint the Tarleon, following up with a backhanded cut. That sort of blow might have killed a lesser opponent, but it is still standing. It moved. The many legs with you try to feint the Tarleon, following up with a backhanded cut. That sort of blow might have killed a lesser opponent, but it is still standing. It moves backwards, wounded. The many legs of the Tarleon is a miasma clattering movement, and suddenly it scuttles ahead towards Eagle, claw first. He is caught by the claw but quickly breaks the hold. He moves backwards. Eagle whirls towards the Tarleon and swings his dagger towards its vulnerable abdomen. It is hard to tell whether he hits it, but it withdraws suddenly. It flails its front legs and makes a clacking sound with its claws. Thrust, button, cut. You make a play at the Tarleon, trying to get in a sideways cut. The Tarleon avoids your attack by a few centimeters. The Tarleon waves its claws but does not attack. Eagle turns around and slices across the abdomen of the Tarleon. Black blood is dripping out. It moves backwards. Thrust, button, cut. You arc your sword in the cut from the left towards the Tarleon and you are Susie's fall. It moves sideways. You arc your sword in the cut from the left towards the Tarleon and you are Susie's fall. It moves sideways. The Tarleon has received several deep wounds, but it does not appear to be affected by them. The Tarleon moves sideways towards Eagle and strikes with its claw. He is scratched by the claw. He moves backwards. Eagle attacks the Tarleon in a swooping movement and hits it with a cut. Eagle has moved himself close to the Tarleon. It jabs its pointy front legs down towards him. He spins around while its front legs strike the ground on both sides of him, and he plunges the dagger in between its eyes. The Tarleon does not make a sound, but it quivers for a moment before it collapses with its legs pointing in all directions. Experience plus 25 out of 150. Eagle spits on the dead Tarleon. Were you hit by its front legs? He asks. You shake your head. They have never been this far west before. He finds something in his sack, a small leather pouch. Bandages. Use them for your wounds and save the rest. He hands you the leather pouch. We must move onward as fast as we can. You notice that Eagle has a slight limp. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis. You walk for a long time through the valley. Slowly, the valley flattens, and gradually the forest surrounds you again. Eagle is limping a little. He does not walk as fast anymore. At one point, he stops and kneels down by some vegetation. Look at this, Rami berries. Provide stamina. He explains how you can recognize and find Rami berries in the forest. Skill, find Rami berries. Eagle gives you a small handful of berries and eats a rather large handful himself. Taste, he encourages you. Eat the berries, button. Eat the berries. You eat the berries, they taste sweet and remind you a little of cherries. You feel more refreshed and ready now. You follow the narrow path through a densely vegetated forest for several hours. Again, Eagle begins to limp and walk slower. Then he stops and raises his hand. Listen. You listen. There is a distant sound of surging water further away. The River Urva, our destination. Eagle livens up a little and presses on at a greater pace. Soon, you arrive at a large roaring river. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis. 4 periods, Urva, ellipsis. Eagle takes a couple of unsafe steps and points at the river. One can follow Urva in a northern direction from here and get all the way to Bourbon. Just as he says it, he collapses. You rush to him. He tries to stand, but he has to give up. The poison of the Tarleon, he says. That beast got me good. Eagle points to his thigh, where you notice a small gash. With some difficulty, he then points to a thicket. There is a boat hidden in that thicket. Drag it down to the shallows. Is there an antidote? Button. Find the boat. Button. Find the... Is there an antidote? Is there an antidote? My only chance is to get to the boat builders by the river mouth. Their alchemists have an antidote. The current will take me there. But I cannot take you with me. It is too dangerous. I am not afraid of the boat builders. I am not afraid of the boat builders. I am not afraid of the boat builders. The boat builders are hard to get wise to. Maybe they'll help me, but more likely, they'll just kill me. I am not afraid of the boat builders. Let me come with you. The boat builders are hard to get wise to. Maybe they'll help me, but more likely, they'll just kill me. You too, if you were to join me. It is not even certain that I will stay alive all the way there, and without me, you will stand no chance with the boat builders. Find the boat, button. Find the boat, button. Find the boat. You walk to the thicket, and just as you just said, there is an old, small rowing boat hidden there. You drag it down to the shallows. Egil gets you to help him aboard the boat. Sit down in the boat, button. Push the boat onto the river, button. Sit down in the boat, sit down in the boat. He stops you when you want to step into the boat, and he leans towards you. Torvald, it is not certain that I'll make it. We don't know if Yarki made it either. You'll have to assume that you are by yourself now. He maintains your gaze. I believe in you, and so did your mother. I'm certain. I believe you'll get to this. I believe in you, and so did your mother. I'm certain that you will reach your goal. Follow this river in a northern direction. Be careful. You'll get to this. I believe in you, and so did your mother. I'm certain that you will reach your goal. Follow this river in a northern direction. Be careful and learn as you travel. You'll get to the suspension bridge. If you cross it, you will come to the remains of the White Temple. Maybe you can find something that'll tell you more about your mother. If, instead, you choose to continue north along the river, you will eventually come to Borgen. Here, you need to keep a low profile. Never show your crystal necklace to anyone. In Borgen, you may meet many challenges, but it will also be the place to track down more knowledge about where your father was and what role King Jomuri has in all of this. If I make it, I'll find my way back to you. How will you find me? Button. How will you find me? How will you find me? I'm an old tracker, Torvald. I'll find you. Egil takes a flat stone and rapidly carves some signs into it. Put this stone by the thicket. It's a message for Yarki. If he's alive, he'll come by this place. You place the stone and push the boat with Egil onto the river. Find the strength that your mother talked about, Torvald, he yells. You look at the boat until it disappears from sight. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Checkpoint reached. You are at the bank of the river Urva where you said goodbye to Egil. The roaring river stretches as far as you can see in both directions. The road to Borgen and the White Temple goes north, along the river, and into the country. Follow the river north, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, button. Take a closer look at, but search for, button. Search for, button. Search for. Berries, button. Berries. You search the vegetation along the river, but it is mostly reeds, and there are no useful berries here. Berries, button. Berries. Back from search for, back from search for. Search for, but take a closer look at, button. Your inventory, ellipsis. Take a closer look at, take a closer look at. The river, button. The river. Urva is a large river. It is a far way to the bank on the other side, and it is impossible to cross the river without a boat. You see the sail of a ship in the distant north. Slowly, it disappears out of sight. The river, button. The river, back from take a closer look at. Take a closer. Your inventory, ellipsis, button. Your inventory, ellipsis. An old buckler, button. A wool blanket, button. A leather pouch of bandages, but a leather vest, button. An old sword, but a piece of iron ore, button. A necklace with a crystal, but a knife, button. 13 gold pieces, button. 13 gold piece, a knife, a neck, a piece, a leather, a wool blanket, an old buckler. Back from your inventory, ellipsis. Back from your inventory, ellipsis. Your inventory, ellipsis. Follow the river north, button. Follow the river north. You walk along the river for a long while, going north. The riverbank is narrow, and the forest is dense, so it is difficult to walk along the river. After many hours you come to a place where a forest path enters the forest. Head north, walking by the river, button. Head south, walking by the river, button. Follow the forest path, button. Your inventory, ellipsis. Follow the forest path, button. Follow the forest path. From the river, you head along the forest path into the forest. The path winds up and down hills, further and further into the forest. The trees are tall, and the environment is lush. The path continues for as far as you can see. There is something by the side of the path, further ahead, and you move closer. There is something by the side of the path, further ahead, and you move closer. It is a tipped-over wagon. A lot of flies swarm about, and you notice that there is also a dead horse. Continue by the path and further into the forest, button. Continue by the path and further into the forest. After another long time spent wandering, you reach a place where the path turns slightly to the left, continuing north. For a while now, the terrain has been rising. Continue around the bend of the path, button. Go back along the path toward the river. Your inventory, go back. Continue around the bend of the path. You hear voices in the distance. Approaching carefully, you see 4 people sitting around a small fire. 3 of them look like merchants. They all wear elegant but practical and durable outfits made of wool and leather. The final person looks more like a warrior. He is armed with both a sword and a bow, and he is wearing dark leather armor. 4 horses packed with bags are tethered to a tree next to them. There is a quiet conversation by the fire, but you cannot hear what they are talking about. Sneak past them, button. Approach them, button. Approach them. As you take a few steps in the direction of the merchants, the armed man jumps to his feet and raises his bow, an arrow pointed in your direction. Be calm now, Gerard. The young man does not appear to be a threat to our well-being, one of the merchants offer. He is a man with a grayish beard and a black hat. Is that a correct assertion? He asks, nodding at you. I am only trying to pass by. I come in peace. I come in peace. The man nods, satisfied. He approaches the warrior, putting a gentle hand on his arm, making him lower the bow. You are more than welcome to join us for a spell. Have a bite of food. Accept the offer, button. Accept the offer. You are offered a seat by the fire. The man breaks off a piece of meat that has been roasting over the fire, handing it to you. For his hair, the man says, you eat some meat. You must forgive my friend here, he has not quite figured out the intricacies of etiquette. One of the other merchants muses, getting up. It is Allow, you must forgive my friend here, he has not quite figured out the intricacies of etiquette. One of the other merchants muses, getting up. It is a woman with short hair. Allow me to introduce us. She points at herself. My name is Angela, my silent companion here by my side is Gorm, and my ill-mannered friend is Theodore, she says, flashing Theodore an impish smile. Torvald. Torrad. Button. Torrad. Greetings, Torrad. Theodore interjects. We are merchants from Borgen. Gerbart is our protector. Gerbart is sitting with a little distance to you. He nods, slowly, squinting. The merchant by the name of Gorm leans towards Angela and whispers something in her ear. Then Angela leans towards Theodore and whispers something in his ear, her gaze still fixed at you. Ellipsis, yes, Theodore says and turns to you. You see, Torrad, we are on a journey hoping to find an old trade route leading deep into the southeastern parts of the country. We have an old map. Or, ellipsis, rather, we had an old map. Theodore looks disapprovingly at Angela. Angela had the map in a leather holster with a large, golden buckle. Ellipsis, and as everyone knows, boner hands are very attracted to that kind of shiny, golden stuff. As everyone knows, ellipsis, Angela's voice is dripping with sarcasm. Not knowingly, button. Abano ran? Abano ran? Not knowingly, button, not knowingly. You not knowingly with no idea what Abano ran is. Theodore continues. As we were traveling through the forest, less than half a kilometer from here, Abano ran suddenly jumped from the trees and grabbed the holster with the map from Angela's saddlebag. Before we had a chance to react, it was gone. It ran behind a thorny thicket. Gerbart says that it is likely that it has a nest in a tree not too far from the thicket. You can hear it right now. Listen, it is a high-pitched whine. You listen, and, just as he said, you hear a loud, high-pitched whine. We could send Gerbart to hunt it, but we would not want to be without protection. It would be too... We could send Gerbart to hunt it, but we would not want to be without protection. It would be too risky. You, young man, you might try? You seem to be able to handle both a thorny thicket, some tree climbing, and a cheeky Bono ran. We can offer you payment, of course. 30 gold pieces if you can find the nest of the Bono ran and bring the map back to us. Accept the mission, button. Accept the mission. Theodore explains. Further down the path you will find a large, thorny thicket. The Bono ran into it. It is a pretty large thicket and it is difficult to get around. You will have to crawl through it. Hopefully, you can get to the other side. Go by the sound of the Bono ran and see if you can find a tree. You head towards the thicket. It looks pretty unpleasant. Having searched for a while, you find a small opening in the thicket where you can squeeze through. Life -2, 25 out of 30. Life minus... You move through the thicket. Life -2, 25. Life -2, 20. You move through the thicket. Breathing. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. Finally, you push through the thicket, but you soon realize that you have just come to a small clearing in the middle of the thicket. You hear the high-pitched whine of the Bono ran further ahead, but you cannot pass through the thicket in that direction. Instead, you see openings in the thicket going left and right. The opening on your left is the biggest. If you go to the right, you will have to crawl on all fours. Take the opening on your left, button. Take the opening on your left, button. Take the opening on your left. The opening on your left leads to a narrow passageway inside the thicket that you move along for a while until coming to a dead end. The thicket is too, well, thick, and there is nowhere to go except back. Go back, button. Go back. You are in the small clearing in the middle of the Take the opening on your right, button. Take the opening on your right. You crawl through the opening on your right, grinding your teeth as the thorn shreds your skin, drawing blood. Luckily, the thicket turns out to be a lot less, well, thick once you have crawled for a couple of meters and, finally, you can stand up on the other side. Ahead of you is a small clearing with a single tall tree. You can hear the whines of the Bono ran from the top of the tree. Climb the tree, button. Climb the tree. You begin climbing the tree. The Bono ran whines in protest, withdrawing to a high position in the tree. Steadily, you work your way up the tree. The branches grow thinner, and you try to not look down. You are pretty high up, and falling would be dangerous. Finally, you get to the nest of the Bono ran. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. The nest is made of branches, twigs, and moss. The Bono ran is in the nest, and it seems aggressive. It throws itself ahead, pretending to attack you, but is quick to withdraw again. Perhaps realizing that it cannot simply scare you off, it attacks you for real, trying to scratch you with its claws. You hold onto a branch with one arm while attempting to counterattack the Bono ran with your sword in the other hand. It is fast. You miss it. To make matters worse, it scratches you. Life -3, 22 out of 30. Once again, you swing your sword and this time, you hit it. The Bono ran whines, terrified, and leaps out of the next. Once again, you swing your sword and this time, you hit it. The Bono ran whines, terrified, and leaps out of the next. You hear it tumbling down the tree. You start searching for the map belonging to the merchants. At one end of the nest, you find a bunch of stuff. Rusting pieces of iron, ellipsis. A piece of a leather strap with a golden buckle, ellipsis. A golden shaft to a broken knife, ellipsis. A leather holster with a golden buckle. Quickly, you open the holster. There is a rolled up map inside. You have found the map belonging to the merchants. You prepare for your descent. You climb down again, carefully. Continue, ellipsis, button. Continue, ellipsis. As you get to the bottom of the tree, you realize that the Bono ran is still alive. Once again, it whines and pretends to attack you, hoping to scare you off. Attack the Bono ran, button. Attack the Bono ran. Choose your weapon for the fight. Choose your weapon for the fight, ellipsis, but choose your weapon for the fight, ellipsis. The old buckler, button. The old sword, button. You use the old sword. Choose extra weapon for the fight. Choose extra weapon for the fight. Ellipsis. Choose extra weapon for the fight. Ellipsis. The old butler. Button. Back from the old butler. You use the old butler. Attack. Ellipsis. Defense. Button. Attack. Ellipsis. Attack. Ellipsis. Thrust. Button. Cut. Button. Cut. You arc your sword in a cut from the left towards the Bono Ram hit. You leave a deep cut across the chest of the aggressive beast. You would have expected that to kill it. It scuttles to the... The Bono Ram grips a branch and swings towards you while trying to scratch you with the other arm. You arc your sword in a cut from the left towards the Bono Ram hit. You leave a deep cut across the chest of the aggressive beast. You would have expected that to kill it. It scuttles to the side. The Bono Ram grips a branch and swings towards you while trying to scratch you with the other arm. You get a minor scratch. Life -1, 21 out of 30. Thrust. Button. Cut. Button. Cut. Targeting the Bono Ram, you swing your sword in an arc from the right and hit it. Experience +10, 35 out of 150. With the Bono Ram put down in the map in your possession, there is only one thing left to do: find your way back to the merchants. You move backward towards the thicket. You sigh and take the unpleasant route back through the thicket. Continue, ellipsis, button, continue, ellipsis. The merchants greet you expectantly. So, ellipsis, how did it go? Theodore. You hold, so, ellipsis, how did it go? Theodore asks. You hold forth the leather holster with the map. Theodore sighs with relief, and the others get to their feet eagerly. We are very grateful to you, Theodore says and hands you a purse of gold pieces. Gold +30. We can continue our journey. We have to celebrate, Theodore exclaims and produces a leather bottle. The leather bottle is passed around. You taste it carefully. It is a strong and sweet liquid that warms you from the inside. Life +2, 23 out of 30. The warrior traveling with the merchants, Gerard, takes a sip and turns towards you. Let me see you swing that sword, he says and gets up. You draw your sword and demonstrate a chop to the best of your ability. Gerard does not look impressed. You need to place your hips correctly to put more strength into it. Gerard shows you how. Soon, he is training you. The merchants are busy studying the map together. You learn a better technique that will grant you more strength in combat. Strength +1, 10 out of 20. Gerard leaves Horat alone, and says cordially. It is time to depart. You thank Gerard for the training. He simply... You thank Gerard for the training. He simply nods. Then he and the merchants get ready to depart and then ride along. Follow the forest path south, towards the river, button. Follow the forest path north, further into the forest, button. Follow the forest path north, follow the forest path north, further in. You continue following the forest path, and you find yourself by a fork in the path. The forest along the path. Follow the forest path into the forest, button. Follow the forest path uphill, button. Follow the forest path uphill. You follow the path up a tall hill and end in a valley between two hills. You stop short. Now you recognize the place. It was here that you were attacked by brigands and were saved by Egil. Then the smell hits you. A nausea. Then go by the path. Then the smell hits you. A nauseating, rotten smell. Go by the path to the fork, button. Go by the path in the direction of the clearing where you woke up, button. Go by the path to the fork. You are at the forest path at the place where it forks. There is a path leading deep into the forest, a path going uphill, and a path towards the river. Follow the forest path into the forest, button. Follow the forest path uphill, button. Follow the forest path uphill. You are at the place on the path where the brigands attacked. You are at the... Go by the path in the direction of the clearing where you woke up, button. Go by the path in the direction of the clearing. You are at the forest path on your way deep into Harvey Forest. In the other direction, the path leads up towards the hilltop in the direction of the clearing. Continue along the path, button. Go back along the path, button. Your inventory, ellipsis, go back. Search for, button. Search for, button. Search for. Berries, button. Berries. You manage to scare a bird as you search the vegetation, but you find no berries. Berries, button. Back. You manage back from search for, back from search. Continue along the search for, but search for, but you berries. You are at the forest path on berries. You manage to skip back from search for, button. Back from. You manage to continue along the. Continue along the path. You are at the place on the path where the brigands attacked. Go by the path to the fork, button. Screen curtain on. Contacts. Screen recording in progress. Control center. Timer. Calculate. Cap. Selected. Open controls. Microphone off. Button. Microphone on.
So yeah guys, that was Serania. So hope that you enjoy, and yeah guys, please leave your like and subscribe and stay safe guys.
Stop recording.
And,
button.
yeah guys, blessings, and yeah guys, you can download it on the App Store. Just search Serania. So,
Screen recording.
guys,
heading. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate.
I'm not trying to put the link in the description. So yeah guys, stay safe and blessings guys. Thanks for watching and stay safe guys. Bye guys.
Stop recording. Button.